So do you remember the good old days? You know, the good old days when you had to go, if anybody came to court, they had to swear on top of the Bible. Why? Because you were swearing on such a high power that if you lied about anything, if you falsely sweared upon this book, then God so help you. Right? Well, now those days are done because Pennsylvania school board president is now sworn in, not with the Bible, but with pornographic novels. Not just pornographic novels, but homosexual, pedophile pornographic novels. It is sick and twisted, and he feels like he's a hero. So let's get into that today on the Road to Emmaus podcast. Brother, have you heard about this?
Yeah, I've seen like the headline for it, but never really watched the video. You know, things like this. It's like, is this for real? I mean, did somebody just make this up? It's like it like makes for bad comedy, but apparently it's real life.
You look back at, like, let's say 20 years ago, 30 years. No, I'm sorry. Let's just go and say 10 years ago. Like before, let's say pre-Obama days, right? Nobody saw this coming.
Yeah,
Nobody saw this coming.
yeah.
And if I would have said this to you, they'd be like, no way. Absolutely no way. But remember, pre-Obama days is when LGBT, nobody thought of the LGBT.
Hmm.
LGBT wasn't a thing. It was the gay community. Remember
Hmm.
that? Where it was just you were gay or you were straight. That was it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And you were either boy or you were girl. Right.
Uh-huh.
Also, you could say Merry Christmas without getting in trouble. All right. That's
Yep.
pre-Obama days.
Hmm.
After Obama, can't do any of that. So, but now you look at it and it's like, what is going on? I lean back sometimes when I catch myself thinking that, like, this is getting too much. I
Yep.
lean back on what John Heller, he's a guy that does a lot of prophecy reports. Good guy. He always says, "What did you think the end times was going to look like?" Right? Always poses that question, and I'm like, "Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did we think was going to happen in the end times right before Christ returns?" So this video, viewer discretion advised, because this is pretty twisted. Take a look at this video.
Well, America's school children are struggling to read and write. So why are we teaching them about sex all day? Instead of using a Bible, a Pennsylvania school board president swore in on a stack of graphic sex novels. And I'm not talking about To Kill a Mockingbird. We're talking about deeply sexual content, way too graphic for school. Some school board members in Fairfax, Virginia did the same thing last week, like Carl Frisch, current vice chair and soon-to-be chair of the board.
I, Carl V. Frisch,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Those books he was sworn in on. Well, they've been banned in several districts for depicting things like underage gay porn. And Carl's been on the board since 2019 and just 2 years ago.
My goodness.
Carl was at a meeting where an outraged parent spoke out about all this, and one of the books he was upset with was Genderqueer and Lawn Boy.
Both of these books include pedophilia, sex between men and boys. Both books describe different acts. One book describes a 4th grade boy performing on an adult male. The other book has detailed illustrations of a man having with a boy. Quote, "I can't wait to have your in my mouth. This is not an oversight at Fairfax High School.
Sorry. May I please make a point of, there are children in the audience here.
Do not interrupt my time."
Carl later went on to mock that parent, calling her testimony an exorcism. Didn't know he was so deeply religious. Since Carl joined the board, he's bragged about how he's the first openly LGBTQ member elected to local office in Fairfax, and apparently it's been exhausting for him.
Making LGBTQIA history is exhausting.
Oh,
But it's critical work.
IA.
he's a
Wow.
hero.
When did we add IA? That's new. It's no surprise Carl's playing identity politics. He's learned from the best. From working for Senate Democrats to spending time with every Democrat under the sun, Biden, Obama, Mayor Pete, Beto, my favorite, Kamala. Carl was even comms director for Media Matters. And now on January 1st, Carl will officially take over as the board chair. The only problem? Well, one of many. Carl doesn't have any kids. He has a partner, Evan, who you saw holding the stack of filthy books. Evan's a school choir director in Fairfax, but they have no kids. Why is a Media Matters maniac with no children invested in his local school curriculum like this? Mm-hmm. And why is this man insisting the curriculum be so sexualized? He's not a parent. He's not a stakeholder. He's an activist. Think that guy's going to boost test scores? He's not there for that. You know exactly what he's there for.
Yep. We know exactly what he's there for.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And this I like the lady was telling what was in the graph. I've seen that before. They will start depicting the things that are inside the books that they're giving the kids, and they'll say, "Ma'am, please stop doing that. That's very inappropriate. There are children here." This is in schools. This is in schools. But like people like Ron DeSantis, right? He has said that teachers cannot talk about these kind of things with children, or that these types of books shouldn't be allowed in schools. And yet he's depicted as like a pariah that is trying to silence the gay community.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just don't say it to kids. And now this man has sworn his job upon these books depicting underage sex with boys. Man,
Yep.
dude, that's I mean, I don't even know where to go with that one.
Yeah, I mean, how far we have fallen, from the good old days, where being an educator meant something. It was
Yes.
something that people thought of as being a noble profession. Uh, as an educator, that you will be able to make a mark on children's lives, that they will, if you have done your job well as an educator, that they will look back years years in their memory, and see how their teachers, how their educators have helped them to become the person that they are today, in a positive sense.
Mhm.
But this way, I don't know. uh, Probably you will look back. I don't know how you could say, oh, he has made a positive impact in my life, especially for a guy who was sworn in using a stack of pornographic books that they've been pushing to be part of the school curriculum.
But again, swearing in on something that says that I pledge, and this book, like what it was it used to be the Bible, and
Mhm.
the Bible was the grounds of truth. That I swear upon this higher power that I shall do. That's why the president always swears in on a Bible,
The Bible,
right?
yeah.
Right, swears in on a Bible. I swear that upon this truth, upon this my God, I shall honor this position that is given to me, right? And I will do it in truth, all right, and uphold the laws, not only in the government and also my job, but also in this book that I swear upon. And so, what does that mean if someone swears upon pornographic novels depicting young children? You know, these people should not be allowed anywhere near our kids. And
Mhm.
I was watching that movie Leo with
Yeah,
Adam
yeah,
Sandler,
yeah.
the one with
The
the lizard.
animated, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um Me and my wife were watching, right? And we were watching this, and we're noticing that the classrooms depicted in this movie, I was like, that's strange, right? It doesn't have any LGBT, no gay flags, no anything in the classroom. It's just an honest to goodness classroom.
Mhm.
And then they said that they were in Florida,
Mhm.
right? And I was like,
Okay.
that's why.
Okay.
That's why. Yeah. So it's interesting how Adam Sandler, the only place that he decided to do a schoolroom comedy was in Florida, where it was very obvious that there wouldn't be any kind of agenda posted on the walls. It was
Uh,
just about teaching. And that's what is in Florida. And I praise God that that's where I'm from. That, but even if I'm from Florida, I still would not hand my kids over to the school system.
mhm.
Nope. It is homeschooling. Let me tell you. I've known people like brothers and sisters in Christ that serve with me, and they even took their kids out of Christian schools
Mhm.
because it was just getting too much.
Yep.
And stuff was just way inappropriate. What about you in the Philippines?
Yeah, well, it's not as bad as in the US. Especially that um LGBT, they've made some inroads. There was not really any pride parade like 3 4 years ago, but in the last 1 2 years, they have been doing pride marches now. But by the grace of God, none of that has really seeped in into the curriculum,
Hmm.
as far as what I've seen. So probably in certain sectors, in certain classrooms, maybe depends on the teacher, but it's not really anything official yet. So by the grace of God, it's not really much of an issue or a problem here in the Philippines.
Give it a couple of months.
No.
Well, you know what? Because when I was there, in the Philippines, I went over to the Watsons, right? And it was during Pride Month.
Mhm,
Okay. And I told you about this, right? Because I went to you and I was so shocked what I saw in there. And they had a Durex, what's
uh-huh.
the condom stuff. Yeah, whatever.
Durex, yeah.
Yeah, Durex, right. It's so they were promoting gay pride, and they
Mhm,
had a rainbow display, and they had these guys that were pushing the Durex product
mhm.
by they give you little rings and you throw them and they land on a phallic symbol, right? And if you get it on the phallic symbol, then you would get a prize or
Get a
get a
prize,
discount.
yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, this is a Christian country. And that's happening. And I believe, isn't Watson's owned by like SM or something like that? Is
It's
that an
it's owned by SM, and as far as I
SM?
know, yeah, as far as I know, SM, for the benefit of our viewers, SM is the largest mall operator in the Philippines.
Yes.
And one of the I think the son or a nephew of the founder is now a born again Christian. So I'm really not sure how this got past, SM, this kind of shenanigans. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, just to let you guys know, in the Philippines, one thing that I always loved about the Philippines is that you're walking through a department store and you'll hear Christian music. I was like, isn't this a worship song? This is a worship song. I'm sitting in Coffee Bean and I'm listening to worship music
Yeah.
because that's what they play.
Yep.
And I think it's just so amazing. You don't get that in America anymore
Mm.
because you don't want to offend
Offend.
anybody. Right. Yeah, exactly. But in
Everybody's so
America,
offended.
right.
Easily offended.
Yeah. But m- a while ago, though, that's the way it was in our country.
Mm.
We had a Sunday law. Nobody was open on Sundays, right?
Mhm.
Nobody was open on Sundays. Why? Because everybody was at church, right? That was a law, right? So it used to be like that. And it wasn't about what church do you go to, or it wasn't about if you go to church,
Mm.
are you a believer? It's what church do you go to,
Mm.
right? Because that was a dead given. Of course you're a Christian, but what church do you go to? Right? Of
Mhm.
course you go to church, but what church do you go to? That's the way it used to be. But now we have people like this that are being sworn in over pornographic pedophile books, and yet he says it's exhausting work. It's exhausting work,
Yep.
but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
No, no one has to do this. It's
Hero, yeah.
right, a hero mentality that he is paving the way. What did he say? He's a historic. Everything is historic with these people, and everything is groundbreaking. You know, it's interesting how many times that it's like this is their image, their persona. It's
Mhm.
basically this is their identity.
Mhm.
Their identity is gay, right?
Yep.
Jules, when was the last time that you ever went around and saying, "Hello, my name is Jules, and I'm a straight man"? Right? You don't say that. Hello. Just to let you know, I go by straight. All right. It's like you don't say that because that's not our identity. Our identity is not upon our sexual acts.
Mhm.
All right. It is based upon our our merit,
Yep.
who we are, and based on our deeds and
Yep.
our ability to give love
Yep.
and to help others. This is what makes us men of God and be
Mhm.
able to show Christ's love. That's our identity.
Yep.
But their
It's not
identity,
about our sexual preference.
when has it ever been about that? It's never been about that. So,
Mm.
but this is what it comes down to. And this scripture I wanted to bring up with this guy. This is in Romans 1, which just makes a lot of sense with this, right? It says in Romans 1, verse 28, it says, "And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affections, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do they do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them." That's what we're seeing. Now, you see, he understands the judgments of God. Why do I say that? Because he knew not to put a Bible in there, right? He knew I need to change this Bible out
Uh-huh.
because I understand what that Bible says about my
Yep.
lifestyle, and I'm
Yep.
not going to swear upon that,
Yep. But
right?
he will swear upon gay sex and pedophilia.
Pedophilia, yeah,
Yep.
pedophilia, sex, yeah.
Yep.
So who knowing the judgment of God, they know, they
Yeah.
absolutely know that they which commit such things are worthy of death. They know. Not only do they do the same, but they have pleasure in them that do them.
Mhm.
Man, this guy was very boastful. And the reason why they have pleasure in it, the reason why they morph into this, and the reason why they're so prideful that it is their identity is because they did not keep any knowledge of God in their not keep the knowledge of God in anything that they do. And so God gave them over. That's
Mhm.
what you want? Go ahead.
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing with the world is that because we have been systematically getting out the wisdom of God, the knowledge of God, and keeping God out of everything, God's giving our country over to the reprobate mind. And that's what we're seeing in government today.
Yep. Exactly. Um, what's the phrase? Be careful what you wish for. So, you know, you're you're getting exactly what you've been wishing for. You wanted freedom. You wanted total absolute freedom to be able to do what you want. Well, there you go. But then what's the price that's being paid?
Yeah, yeah, and that's what it is. And that the freedom of religion was the freedom to and the separation of church and state, right? Um, the separation of church and state was so that the state would stay out of your church, right? Not so the church would stay out of the state,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
That's and the people. That's why on our dollar bill it says, "In God we trust." Right?
Mhm.
We believed in definitely having the church in our state,
Mhm.
but if once the government removed God from the equation, then ungodly leaders came in, and God said, just like with Saul, in the Bible. We didn't want a heavenly king, we wanted an earthly king. And so God said, all right, I'll give you one.
Okay.
He's going to be terrible. I'll anoint him for you.
Mhm.
He's going to be bad. So, but this is just what's going to happen. And just like we always say at the Road to Emmaus podcast, let me encourage you, it's going to get a lot worse.
Uh-huh.
A lot worse.
And
A lot worse.
it is getting worse, much worse.
Yeah. And you might think, how can it be worse than that?
Mhm.
Just watch. We'll let you know. We'll keep you updated here at the Road to
Stay
Emmaus
tuned.
podcast. Stay tuned on the next, stay to the next video that we do. Yeah. So, and by the way, guys, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to these videos. They really do help us out. And also, if you haven't already, leave comments down below. Let us know what you think about this video, about this guy. What do you think his intentions are in the school district? A man who doesn't have kids, who doesn't seem to like kids, except in the wrong way, and a man who is completely on board with seemingly pedophilia and sexual content being pushed towards kids. What can we expect out of such a board leader, a board president, no less? Leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think. Like and subscribe, and don't forget to have a blessed holiday season. God bless you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.